Everything is connected. Energy, science, quantum physics. There's a real heaviness in the air lately. I release all negative energy from my body, mind, and spirit. This beautiful practice of being rooted in the frequency of love, light, and unity. You are that light. You are that magic. You simply need to unlock it. Hello, hello. Welcome to Rooted Frequency, where we ground down into the beautiful light that is you, one frequency at a time. I'm your host, Tiffany Haney. Thank you so much for joining me and subscribing to this podcast. Today, I wanted to share some other dimensional experiences that I've had in my life, as well as some messages and communication that's been coming through very recently in dreams. Now, this is not going to be just me telling stories. I really believe that you will also be getting a lot out of it. All of these things feel very timely. Like it is important for us to be talking about these things right now. And this episode is very personal for me. But I do have a feeling that you're going to have aha moments of your own, because there is always a reason why you are here right now listening to this. Many people have shared with me that recently dreams have been even more vivid. And I know that I am also experiencing this. It feels more like a message that's coming through, or a more real reality than this one that we are seeing for a reason. That it is not just our brains going through all the noise and decompressing at the end of the day. So we are going to talk about some ways to interpret dreams and the spiritual significance that came through for me in some of my most recent dreams. And I do think this is going to be profound and truly help all of you as well. Activating dormant memories, DNA, abilities within us all. And I'm even going to share with you an alien encounter that I had, that I was nervous to share this experience, but what the hell? You get to hear about it today. So get ready to explore cosmic messaging, how the universe, extraterrestrials, and higher dimensional beings might even be sending us signals. Maybe they have sent you signals and you don't even realize. And we'll wrap everything up by incorporating some practical ways to practice spiritual protection against energy manipulations, including hoodoo and voodoo. There's a good reason for this, but more on that later. So let's get into it. We are going to start with an extremely vivid dream I had a few nights ago. I am in the car with my mom. She's driving, and I'm in the passenger seat. The road feels very familiar, like I know it well and have driven it many times, even though it's not a road in this lifetime that I know. It's night, very dark out, And I look up, and the sky is incredible. It looks like a giant crystal geode, sparkling, swirling, shifting, moving. And in the center of this giant crystal slab is a golden yellow, swirling portal of light. But it has a mass to it. And I know it is something powerful, something meaningful, definitely not a normal sky. So I keep telling my mom to look. And she does quickly and kind of brushes it off. She goes, "Oh yeah, that's molten from the earth." Which, in the dream, made sense, like it was something people just talked about. But I knew in the dream that it was more than that. So she pulls the car over, and we're at the top of this hill. There's no other cars around, but down the hill is a warehouse of some sort. It almost looks like a Walmart or something, but there's all of these windows. So you can see the inside really well, even though it's in the distance. It's completely lit up, and there's a ton of people. It's packed, and they are dancing inside, almost like it's a nightclub. And because of what's happening in the sky, there's these lights strobing. And that's what made it feel very much like a nightclub inside of this space. So they're all dancing and having a party and completely ignoring the sky above them. Suddenly, the people from the warehouse start to leave it, all in these lines. And most all of them are in orange prison uniforms. And my mom and I are the only car parked. But it's like they're performing. They're putting on a show. They're dancing, and it's all choreographed. And then in the front, one of the people steps forward, and it's this woman with dark hair. And she's in all denim with denim fringe on her button-down denim shirt and a cowboy hat, and she's leading a country line dance. So I'm going to pause my explanation of the dream, or my description of the dream. So I'm going to pause right here and break down this first half of my dream, because there's a hell of a lot going on here. This dream is layered. There's movement, transformation, distraction, and an undeniable cosmic connection and message. But we're going to break it down piece by piece, because there's many elements within this dream that you can use to analyze your own. So the familiar road and my mom driving. In the dream, my mom's the one driving, and it feels like I've driven this road a million times before, but there's those construction cones everywhere. So right away, this seems to be lining up with my life right now. The road represents life path. If you ever dream that you're driving, that's what the road represents. And the direction of my life path, it feels like I know it well, like I know where I'm going. But the construction cones mean that something is changing. Something is being restructured, reworked. And for those of you that have missed some of my life updates as of late, I'm closing my physical crystal shop right now to focus more on podcasting, and I'm putting all my crystals online and creating this online community, focusing more on that and my new brand, Rooted. It's a big change, a huge change, but more on that later. So my mom being the one who is driving the car, however, this detail of the dream suggests that in this moment, I don't feel fully in control of my own direction, which is pretty normal when you make a really big life decision, because the future is uncertain. And I, in many ways, feel out of control, not in the driver's seat of my own life. So details like that within dreams are very big for what's happening within your subconscious. Are you in control in the dream? Is someone else in control, or are you just plain out of control? So there's an external influence guiding me, whether that's family, past conditioning, or even societal expectations. But given the cosmic nature of the dream, which we'll get into more, it could also mean that I'm surrendering. I'm releasing control of my life to step into a flow state, which is what this decision felt like from the very beginning. My mom driving is not my mom. This represents a part of us. Perhaps my higher part of myself, giving over to my guides, to guidance, to my soul purpose. Also, it's nighttime, which means that I'm moving through all of these periods of unknowns with a sense of mystery and unknowing of the future, but also the nighttime and the moon. It's a deeper subconscious exploration, which our subconscious is where our soul is extremely tied. So my soul making its move towards my highest purpose. The sky, this gorgeous crystal geode with this molten golden portal within, gives me chills when I think about it. I can remember it just as vividly as when I dreamt it. So I look up at the sky, and it's unlike anything I've ever seen. A massive crystal slab, swirling, shimmering, like a geode that's been cracked open, revealing something beyond our normal reality. And in the center, a golden, swirling portal of light. This is powerful. The crystal geode sky could symbolize a few different things. A higher dimension, revealing itself, a glimpse beyond the illusion of every day. A cosmic message encoded in the sky, calling me to pay attention. Or a portal, a gateway, or a threshold. Something big is coming. When we experience something in a dream, we often type it into a Google search to see what the dream could mean. But we have to pay attention to how we felt in the dream, too. I felt a knowing. I felt a knowing that something big is happening right now and coming. A call to really pay attention. I knew that it was something to look at, but my mom in the dream, she glanced at it and shrugged. Oh yeah, that's just molten from the earth. That right here is the classic divide between awakening and dismissal. I see the truth. I feel its power. But someone else, someone I love and trust, brushes it off, choosing to see it through a more rational, grounded lens. This is an experience so many of us have when we are awake. Because we are waking up to higher realities. And not everyone sees the things around us as we do. So when we pulled over and down the hill there was the warehouse lit up like a beacon in the darkness, inside people dancing, celebrating, ignoring the sky, that is very important. The warehouse represents this contained space, a place where people are gathered, but also a place that feels separate from the real world. The strobe lights are coming from the sky, so it's a divine, cosmic phenomenon. And yet the people inside are using it as a party effect instead of recognizing its significance. This screams distraction. They are choosing not to look up, choosing entertainment over awareness. And doesn't that feel like the world we live in today? No matter how much evidence we put in front of so many people, they choose to stay in the 3D. They choose to stay in the warehouse, too scared to admit what is beyond the doors, what is beyond the wall. Suddenly they leave, and instead of being party goers, they're in orange prison uniforms, marching in lines, moving like they're in some kind of choreographed performance. So it's like they do leave the confines, but they're still prisoners, restricted, controlled, a lack of freedom, a lack of individuality. The choreography means they're following a script of sorts. Their movements are rehearsed and not their own. The one woman dressed in denim fringe and a cowboy hat is leading them in this dance. Hive mind? Manipulation coming down the line from one entity, perhaps? One entity controlling? And it's country line dancing specifically. It's a structured dance. You follow specific steps, no room for deviation. It's traditional, deeply tied to old ways of doing things. It's very difficult for people to get outside of their current reality or see things different from how they grew up. And the cowboy aesthetic, especially in contrast to the cosmic portal in the sky, suggests this stubborn clinging to the old world programming. It's an interesting contrast, something or a detail within the dream some people may overlook. But these people who were once free and partying are now in uniform, in formation, performing a dance that they didn't choose. Like they've been captured by a system, programmed into a repetitive, controlled movement, instead of embracing the unknown magical sky. It really does attest to the fact that some people will look up and see the truth, and others will rationalize it away. The sky was this celestial portal, something extraordinary. How many times do we see signs, synchronicities, or higher truths, only to be told it's just a coincidence, or you're reading into it, or it's not a big deal. You're connecting dots that aren't there. Distraction is such a powerful tool. The people in the warehouse were having the time of their lives, but they were missing the real event happening above them. And this is exactly what continues to happen day to day in our world. The biggest truths right in front of us. But society keeps us entertained, numb, and looking the other way. The prison uniforms and the line dance programming. The moment the strobe lights stopped, the illusion of freedom was gone. The entertainment ended, and they were in formation, uniformed, following orders. So I feel like this first half of my dream is a call to awareness, a wake-up call, a reminder to look up, to question reality, and to see beyond the distractions. And the fact that I was trying to get my mom to realize and look up felt very much like a call to action for me. How many people are stuck in this warehouse of entertainment, missing the bigger events unfolding all around them? How many are unknowingly dancing in the formation of old systems, following steps that they never learned to begin with consciously? If the sky speaks, will they listen? So I took away from myself right away upon waking that there was something that needed to be explored here and shared. And that is why we are talking about this today. The sky as a crystal slab stuck out as very special. A possible barrier between dimensions. A cosmic projection. A literal window into another reality. And that molten golden center is very much about creation, divine essence. I felt like my message was received. But what was the message? In the second part of my dream, so I'm in the car with my mom, and as we're pulled over to the side of the road, you know how there's weird things that can't be true in this universe anyways, but we are in beds, like single beds, within this small car. And I'm laying there, relaxing, looking at the sky, and I start to research on my phone. So I'm on my phone researching what is happening because this sky is blowing my mind. And I couldn't believe that everyone was just acting normal and not looking at it. So I'm researching and I say to my mom, oh, look, see, they are trying to tell us that they just sent light boxes to a bunch of hubs around the world, and that caused this sky event to happen. That these light boxes were part of some big global event. My mom dismisses me. So I begin once again to look up at the night sky, at the spinning geode with golden center. And at that moment, the entire sky starts flickering in and out, completely black and then coming back to life, almost like some sort of Morse code messaging. And within the dream, I knew instantly that it was a message, a confirmation from the universe telling me I was right. Like my mom was ignoring me, but the universe was like, I'm listening. And I had a knowing of who was sending the message. Nothing that I can put into words now, but within the dream context, it was like certain beings were speaking directly to me. Then suddenly, shooting stars started flying across the sky, one after the other. And I kept pointing to them, saying, look, a shooting star. And then another one would fly by, and I'd go, another one. And another one. And I'm feeling this overwhelming sense of validation and connection to the universe. Eventually, I laid back down in this bed within the car, and there was this lingering urgency. I knew that I had to get my mom home. She needed to drive us home because it was getting so late, and I was worried about her driving in the dark. So I was very aware of time. Below us in the car, there was a bunch of space, and my cats were there. So I called them onto the bed to come into my lap. And then the dream ended. So this second part of the dream is where this divine communication was so prevalent. The flickering sky is a huge symbol of divine communication. The universe itself, or universal beings, dimensional beings, were speaking directly to me. I did research aspects of this dream. And the way the sky was can definitely be seen as a metaphor for higher knowledge or spiritual truths. The light boxes and the fact that that's what the term was within the dream might represent divine messages. Or it could have to do with technology, perhaps being used by higher dimensional beings to communicate with humanity. These light boxes may symbolize tools or vehicles through which other entities, other dimensional entities, can convey information, energy, or enlightenment. So where the broader world may not recognize or acknowledge these spiritual signs, I was left with this feeling that I'm tuned into a frequency that other people in my actual life may not see. My mom's dismissive reaction in the dream could represent a spiritual barrier or disconnect from those who may not be attuned to the same higher frequencies or consciousness. So if you have dreams with parental figures in them, they often reflect inner aspects of our own selves. Maybe the ego or parts of us that resist things, that are resistant to change. This dismissal felt like it could be my soul's divine purpose, frustrated with not reaching enough people. Again, which is why I'm sharing this topic. But when you analyze your dream, and it seemed like I was not in the driver's seat of my own life, and then this dismissal and frustration with my soul's divine purpose not reaching enough people, but then this confirmation from the flickering sky, like, yes, now you're on the right track, it's definitely on par with everything going on right now. But let's dive into one of the most spiritually significant symbols in the dream, and the one that really caught my attention as this being a standout dream. And if you've ever experienced dreams with extremely vivid imagery, you'll know how powerful that those images can be and how long they can stay with you. So this sky flickering, almost like Morse code, signaling a communication from another dimension. The flickering sky is a clear indication that I was receiving messages from higher dimensional beings, spirit guides, or even extraterrestrial sources. These beings are trying to get our attention. They're communicating. The message is meant for higher evolution, a confirmation that I'm on the right path spiritually and intuitively. Morse code, as we all know, is used to convey information. So in the dream, it would suggest that the messages aren't always going to be loud and clear, but that we have to pay attention. To be mindful of the signs all around us, and that sometimes we need to decode the messaging. That these aren't random occurrences. They're invitations all the time to all of you to expand your consciousness and dive deeper into your own spiritual awakening. Now let's talk about the geode. And not just any geode. This one had a golden center, and in a spiritual context is a very profound symbol. Geodes often are seen as representations of hidden knowledge and untapped spiritual potential. When you think about geodes, they might appear ordinary on the outside, but you crack them open and they reveal this stunning interior filled with crystals and vibrant energy, which is a lot like us, these humans with this beautiful soul on these spiritual journeys. We appear ordinary on the surface, but inside we carry deep wisdom that's waiting to be uncovered and activated. That golden center, sacred knowledge, divinely aligned with your soul's purpose. It's telling you that the wisdom you're meant to uncover is not only important, but spiritually significant. It's there to help you fulfill your higher purpose in life. And the fact that it's spinning symbolizes this ongoing nature of spiritual evolution, this continual unfolding of wisdom. And just like how crystals grow and shift, so do we. So does our spiritual journey. We're always evolving, expanding, and receiving insights. And we need to look to the universe around us for our next stage of growth. Then there were the shooting stars in my dream, which is a common theme to appear within a dream, and in many spiritual traditions represent confirmation, transformation, and manifestation or granting of wishes. It felt like the universe was not only answering me, but telling me I was on my right path. If you see shooting stars in your dream or your everyday life even, they're considered spiritual markers of synchronicity and divine affirmation. In my dream, I felt like it could indicate that I'm receiving direct confirmation from the universe or these other dimensional beings that I'm on the right path once again. You have to pay attention to the emotion within the dream. I had an overwhelming sense of validation and connection. Like I was tapping into a universal truth and divine purpose, and that these entities are showing me that my intuition is correct, that I'm aligned with the flow of energy. And now let's talk about the sense of urgency that appeared in the dream. I was aware that time was slipping away, the need for my mom to drive home, creating this pressure. Now, from a spiritual perspective, the urgency could be a significant sign. This sense of urgency might be calling attention to something important, something that's tied to spiritual path and growth, like a nudge from the soul, reminding that time is of the essence when it comes to our spiritual evolutions. In your waking life, you may have moments where you feel like there's a decision or an action that needs to be taken, something that aligns with your higher purpose. And sometimes we all have been hesitant or unsure. And the universe may be asking you to step up and take intentional action towards your spiritual awakening. There's a powerful sense of momentum building in life, pushing us to make choices that'll bring us closer to who we're meant to be. And the urgency is not about feeling rushed or stressed or anxious. It's about recognizing that you're at a crossroads or a turning point, that growth is happening, but requires our participation. Urgency is a common theme in dreams, trying to get somewhere you can't. You're trying to go to work and you're running late. Time is such a big indicator. What is the overwhelming theme, and why is there this pressing significance of time associated with it? And then we have my cats. Cats within a dream carry a lot of spiritual significance, and cats often represent intuition, independence, and a strong connection to feminine energy within the universe. Sometimes they are depicted as guardians of the spiritual realm, helping one navigate between worlds. Which is interesting because it felt very much like I was communicating with other dimensional beings. When I called them into my lap, it suggests being encouraged to stay connected to my instincts and intuition. So, for you, I want you to know that during times of spiritual awakening, we get overwhelmed or uncertain, but the universe is constantly talking to us, or other dimensional beings are constantly talking to us. And that is when our intuition becomes one of our most powerful tools, when you know that something is more than what it seems on the surface. So for you, if you're feeling this subtle urgency in your life or within the dream realm, trust that it is a call to action, to align more deeply with your spiritual path and take steps that will move you closer to your highest potential. Trust your inner wisdom. Let it be a guiding light that keeps you grounded as you navigate the twists and turns of life. The universe is always speaking to you. And it can be urgent or sometimes a quiet guidance. But we need to know that you have everything you need within you. You are not alone on this journey, and the messages you receive are part of a beautiful unfolding. My dream overall was showing me that when we seek answers, they do come. The universe is always responding and guiding. But it's also reminding us to balance these insights with the reality of the everyday human experience. We're here for both the divine and the human, and we have to integrate them. We are going to talk in depth about activation. Because when a profound dream like this comes up, even if to the average person, you go and you tell them your dream and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, you have a knowing that this particular dream stood out to you more than the rest. And it doesn't have to be a dream. It could be even just an experience that you had at the grocery store that stood out, that something happened. Maybe you were activated. I'm always encouraging you to journal. And after a dream like this, I like to write it down. I like to get it out because there's details you'll forget, no matter how vivid. So I'm journaling about it, and immediately, something that happened to me a few years ago popped into my head for reflection. And this was not a dream. It was an actual experience that I had, and I'm going to share with all of you for the first time. But it was one of the biggest otherworldly or unexplainable experiences that I've had. So a few years back, probably 3 years back or so, I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a little boy standing next to my bed. And my youngest at the time was 3 years old. The timeline adds up. So about 3 years old. And the little boy was about his height. So I woke up and the little boy's standing there and has a little toy train. And he's going choo, 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 and moving it. I thought it was my son. And I went to put my arm out, kind of like, why are you next to the bed? And he just starts dissolving, like disintegrating, like particles that I could see. And then shifted a little to the left and took the form of a small gray alien. And I still was not afraid. I was completely calm. And he took the form of a child so that I would not be scared. And then he stood in the corner of the room, and we spoke telepathically for hours. At least that's what it felt like. In the morning, I knew this, but I didn't remember any of it. It was a very good experience, though. So I started researching, and I immediately thought, what beings appear as children? Because I thought that was significant before revealing their true forms. To specifically ease fear, establish trust, have it be a gentle contact. And the fact that that encounter vividly replayed in my mind after my vivid dream was not just random. It was an activation. This is when a being transmits something to you, whether knowledge, energy, or a shift in consciousness. This can be in waking life, in a dream, or quite often in meditation. People who experience activations more often than not do not even realize it. But it's something that happens inside, a little shift, a little awakening that happens within your DNA, dormant DNA, that leaves you with an increased intuition, psychic ability, more synchronicities happening in your daily life, leaves you with a stronger sense of purpose or your soul mission, and quite often leaves a shift in perception. Like you know something's changed, but you can't put words to it. And since that encounter years ago, which at the time I did not realize was any sort of activation, my life has been a string of awakening different abilities, downloads, channeling, confirmations, and messages. My abilities have heightened, and I've taken off on this spiritual journey in a more aligned way, something aligned with my soul purpose. That latest dream I had felt like another layer of that activation unfolding. They can't activate a ton within us right away because our human bodies can't handle it. But as the earth ascends, we can take on more and more activation. The dimensional energy of the dream and the message with the sky definitely felt tied to my alien encounter. So back to my research. It's interesting because at the time, I could not find much. I researched and tried to go down the rabbit hole, and there was not much there. There are multiple reports of entities, extraterrestrial and interdimensional, that initially appear as children before revealing their true form. For that purpose of easing fear, establishing trust. So gray aliens, it was a small gray. Many gray aliens, and there are different sizes of them, and often it is the smaller ones. There are reports of people having them appear first as human children or some sort of familiar figure before they reveal their true form. Many people believe greys have the ability to manipulate perception or project telepathic illusions in order to make their presence less alarming. There's also something called screen memories, and many contactees or abductees report seeing animals, children, or religious figures during an encounter before revealing that it's an alien being. The purpose of the screen memory is often to soften the shock of contact and to prevent full recall of the encounter. Because this encounter, this being, openly admitted that he was masking his form, he was establishing trust. Almost like we had a connection, or our souls knew one another. We even could go further and look at the fact that the boy was holding a train, and that the train could be a journey, and that the being is guiding me and preparing me for an important journey. Many of the people who report these similar experiences also say that they felt calm. Only from a calm state can information be shared, or can they activate something within us. Telepathic downloads are often stored subconsciously. Many experiencers report having long, detailed telepathic conversations with beings but struggle to recall them later. It's very possible that the information was downloaded into my subconscious and that it's going to resurface when I need it, which this dream served as a catalyst to awakening this info. Many people believe that higher dimensional beings operate on a different frequency than our waking consciousness, making it harder for us to retain memories of their encounters because it's like we can't hold it. We don't have enough RAM. We don't have enough room within us, within our system. Because we were communicating telepathically, it also was probably my subconscious communicating, so we could have agreed on some sort of soul level not to recall it fully until the right time. I bring this up because there are a lot of activations going on all over the place, and there's a lot of different ways to be activated. I see it a lot with meditation when people come out of a meditational experience, maybe to meet their guides or meet their starseed family, and they're frustrated because they didn't see anything or get any sort of message. Oftentimes, that's not what's needed. There's something that needs to be retrieved, dormant DNA within us. There's something that needs to be awakened or activated. So if you want to retrieve any messages inside of you, there's ways for us to do the work to remember bits and pieces in a safe way that helps us to ascend in a timely manner. You can try meditation, dream re-entry by closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and visualizing what happened to you during the day. You can do this with dreams as well, trying almost to go back to the same dream. You could picture the experience, like I could picture the little boy, the train, and him shifting into the gray alien, and specifically ask, what did we talk about? And I could picture that and reflect on it right before bed and allow things to come up through the night. Then, upon waking, write freely about the experience in an automatic writing format, meaning just let it flow. Another way is directly doing automatic writing, preferably from a calm meditative state. You don't go into some sort of trance. It's more like allowing yourself to get really calm with breath or meditation, and then just letting the answers flow from your soul. Even if it feels a little bit like nonsense at first, or you are forcing things, you'll notice that patterns begin to emerge. Something else you can try is requesting another contact. So before sleeping, you would set an intention. Maybe, if there's something I need to remember, please help me recall it in my dreams or waking consciousness. You could say this out loud or in your mind. If you do that, you're going to want to pay attention to your dreams, to synchronicities happening in your life, or even flashes of memory or insights that you receive throughout the day. It could be a higher being speaking to you, even if it's coming through your highest self. And of course, any time that you start to think you are receiving things from anyone or anything, just pay attention. Look for triggers in daily life. And sometimes the triggers can spark answers. And again, it's not your imagination. You'll maybe notice repeated symbols or themes. It could be a nudge towards recall. So, what exactly is an activation if you are getting it via contact from an extraterrestrial, an interdimensional, or some sort of spiritual being, perhaps an archangel? Anytime this happens where you have some sort of interaction and in a way it awakens some sort of dormant knowledge, energy, or ability within you, this is an activation. It's less about words and more about transmitting something directly into your consciousness or energy field. Kind of like a energetic upgrade. Many people who experience contact that is specifically for activation are going to report that they feel more intuitive, notice more synchronicities, and have a deeper sense of purpose. They feel, in a sense, like they are being prepared for something. And there's different types of activations in contact experience form. We can talk about DNA or energetic activation, because some believe that certain beings, especially Greys, Palladians, or Arcturians, carry advanced knowledge and frequencies that can, quote unquote, turn on your latent DNA codes. They want you to have enhanced intuition or increased energy sensitivity or memory of past lives or your soul mission. More often than not, people won't even know that they are receiving this type of activation. But there are signs, such as tingling sensations in the body, especially the crown chakra, increased downloads of knowledge, or maybe you didn't even have them in the past, and all of a sudden you are. You just know without understanding why you're feeling more drawn to certain topics. You have to go down the rabbit hole. Or you just seem to have a grasp of some sort of ancient knowledge, and you don't really know why. There's also telepathic or subconscious activation. So instead of receiving direct verbal messages, you're being implanted with information that your subconscious will unlock later. You might find yourself remembering things that you were never taught or having insights that feel like they came out of nowhere. Sometimes these activations surface through dreams, meditation, or even during random moments in your daily life. There's also timeline or mission-specific activations, meaning if you are on a very specific life purpose or mission, that these contact experiences can serve as a soul wake-up call to shift your awareness towards it, that it's time. And that could explain telepathic exchanges between beings like I experienced in the night, so that it could bypass my conscious resistance to it. And that wraps up part 1 of this conversation. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss part 2, which drops exactly 1 week from today. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a review, comment, share it with someone who'd find it valuable, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'll see you next week for part 2. Bye.